And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Alien Spaceship stream. You can be watching from anywhere around the country or the world. I really appreciate every single one of you. Coming to you from the Spaceship Studios from a galaxy far, far away. It has been, yes, Fifi, it has been quite a day today. Going over here. See, this way. Alright. Alright, so hello, everybody. It's Alien Spaceship. And today, in the trials that we watch, that a lot of us, a lot of my friends and I watch, it was a guilty verdict in the Corey Richardson trial, which I think was definitely, you had the prosecution and you had the state. No, that's the same thing. I misspoke. You had the defense and you also had the state say their closings, and as Fifi predicted, there would be a verdict today, and there was. She was guilty on all counts, and there's. It seems to be everybody seems to agree about the guilty verdict, and after different evidence was presented by both sides, she will be, locked up for a long time. It was very wild. The chat was flying. The defense worked hard and they did their job, and that's what the defense is supposed to do. They are supposed to, it's their job to defend their client to the end and make the best case with the art of speech as possible. So their worth ethic and their dedication and passion for what they do was, although the case they had, there wasn't much to work with, still they went to the end and worked very hard and didn't give up. Yeah, she will never get out. I was going over, talking to one of my other friends that I know from offline from a long time ago, was talking about the financial things that she did, the financial fraud she was accused of, and yeah, it was, which we saw together in the trials. And yeah, even like, he doesn't watch trials, but he even thought it was, he thought she was guilty because there's just too many things were happening to put together like this. Yeah, and a lot of times, you'll have the defense attorneys, they'll not have a lot to work with, but they'll do what they, their job to defend their client. So yeah, I am glad the verdict was quick. Although some people may not think it's quick. Usually, some of these verdicts, these things will last for days, but this one was a couple hours, and we got the verdict. And this was a pretty big trial. It's been a while since there's a big trial like this. It may not be like the biggest we've ever seen, but it's certainly a very big trial. And chat was united, and it was well put together. So that was good to see. Yes. Okay. Yeah, so that was good to see. And just a summary about what occurred for those that may not be aware. On March 16, 2026, a Summit County jury found Kouri Richins guilty on all charges, including the aggravated murder of her husband, Eric Richins. After nearly 3 weeks of testimony and roughly 3 hours of deliberation. So it was about 3 hours of deliberation, and they eventually came to the verdict. So, as the jury is one of the most important jobs. I'd say the most important job there, and they decide, who's guilty or innocent, and they definitely go through a lot of sacrifices and a lot of time into it. That's why it is good to see this play out the way it did. Okay, thank you. The sentencing for the trial is on Eric's birthday, which is 5/13. Okay, yes. And I was asked about some other people that aren't involved with trials about, does the sentencing all happen the same day? And it usually doesn't. It's usually done on a different day. And I believe, in my opinion, there will be victim impact statements. That'll be very, very good to see. Of course, it's a heartbreaking situation. The victim impact statements a lot of trials are very good. Very good. People really get to the point and get to express themselves. Yes, karma. Yes. Hello, Lori. Welcome to the stream. I hope you've had a good day today, Lori. And in the KOURI Richardson's trial, which is what the trial chat and I have been looking into, is we've been watching together. She has been found guilty on all counts, and she was guilty of murder of her husband and fraud, lots of financial fraud also. Poisoning a Moscow Mule and giving it to him, and they're trying to say that like the defense was saying, well, the defense always likes to, they're doing their job. They, even if they don't have a lot to work with, they'll do what they think is best at that moment. And they're trying to say he was on drugs and he died of an overdose. But that is and also a sandwich too. Okay, thank you, Phoebe. Or just a sandwich. I could have gotten that mixed up for a second, but thank you. But after that happened, the financial fraud and the murder, found guilty of both, because she had, I believe, another trial a year ago, but not a year or two ago. And now this one is there, and she is now going to be never going to get out of prison. She's going to be in the state prison for her whole life. Yeah. I put God and good with my typos. Oh, okay. Pretty darn God today. Pretty darn God day. We reached 79. I got dyslexic for a second, but it's actually 79 Fahrenheit. Unseeable for us. Yeah. There's a heat dome over the West Coast right now, so you're getting some abnormal heat. So there was a unanimous verdict, and the judge, I think, did a magnificent job. He was a very nice, very good voice, very well spoken, and his personality was good. And he was telling, earlier to stay focused. He was telling the attorney to stay focused. Yeah, God is good. Amen. Yes, God is good. And so the judge had many funny moments, and he's a no nonsense judge, gets to the point. So yeah, many liked him. I think everybody liked him. So the jury returned unanimous verdict, convicting her of 1 count of aggravated murder, 1 count of attempted aggravated murder, 2 counts of insurance fraud, 1 count of forgery. The 35-year-old Utah mother and children's book author now faces a potential sentence of 25 years to life in prison for the most serious charge. And for those that don't know, the trial, it began on February 23, 2026. It centered on the state's allegation that Richins poisoned her husband with a lethal dose of fentanyl on March 4, 2022. Prosecutors argue that she slipped 5 times the lethal dose of... Yeah, hello, Moki. It is great to see you. And yes, chat was flying off the rails. I've not seen it like that in a very long time. The chat was going like a slot machine in Vegas. It was going and going, and there's a lot of people there that I saw a few names I've not seen in a while there. So everybody was there. The chat was excited, chat was united, and it's good to see that. The unity of chat, seeing a verdict like that. It's been a while. So I'd say, last year, because there's been little trials that have been happening along the way, and then this trial came. Oh, I remember the Karen Reed case. Yeah, I remember that one. That one was that was a big one too. And Monica Cementelli is another big one that I remember from last year. We haven't needed slow-mo on chat in a long time. Yes, and yes, Lori, noise. Okay, we haven't needed a slow mode on chat in a long time. Yeah, with a slow mode on chat, usually the chat can... Yes, read chat was wild. Yes, you are correct. Rechat was wild, and the the thing about it was there is actually a civil war going on in the Rechat. There is a civil war going on. Usually in the trial chat, there's not a need for slow motion because you have a slow mode where there's so many people chatting. You want to break it up into spaces because the chat could go off in different places. It's not been needed in a while, but today it definitely was needed, and it wasn't enacted, but it needed to. It was flying so quickly, it's very difficult to see the chats. So it definitely should have been enacted, but it's not been needed in a while. All right. All right, and then you see it's nice you're having good weather. Okay, yes, and I think Nestor Fester cried when the judge scolded her stay focused. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, so earlier the when uh, Nestor Fester was told to stay focused, the judge is so straight to the point, and the way he does his nonchalant comebacks, and he even knows about what's going on. Yeah, he was like, "Stay focused," and that made all the chat laugh out, cry laughing. Yeah. Yes, the Tyler Robinson chat will the trial of Tyler Robinson will be nuts. They'll be very political. It'll be very divided. It will be crazy. Yeah, it will be absolutely bonkers. Uh, it'll be another civil war will happen then. Yeah, that will be one of the biggest trials, if not the biggest trial this year, as far as I know. It's actually going to be maybe next year in 2026 and 27. That's probably when it'll be scheduled for if he goes to trial because there's going to be a hearing, and after the hearing, hello Richard, and Richard is my grandpa, by the way, and yeah, soon we're going to be playing that alien interview that we were watching the other day. He wanted to see. We'll be doing that this week, and yeah. So Richard, earlier I saw you, and we're talking about politics, different things like that. It was nice to see each other, Richard, and so after I got back after doing the internet reset, there is watching a trial. There's a verdict, and this woman that murdered her husband was found guilty of murdering her husband and doing insurance fraud. So that's what happened, and here we are. Yeah. And Corey, Mogi said Corey looked terrified. I would be too. Yeah, chat made various comments about her looks, about what she was doing. It's best to stay calm, but of course, everybody's going to criticize what will stay calm and what will not stay calm. But yeah, people thought she had no emotion. Other people, Moki said she looked frightened. So that will be, yes, Moki, definitely will be a very terrifying situation to be put in her shoes. Definitely, indeed. Which interview we're gonna play? Oh yes, the one of it's about. Richard can correct me if it's not it, but I believe it's the one we were talking about with the reptilians. The man that saw the reptilians. He has glasses, and that's one I believe that we'll be playing. And if it wasn't that one, it'll be it's I'll figure out which one it was, but it was that one, which I think you and I we were watching it one night for a little bit towards the end, and yeah, it's about the reptilians because it was talking about some stuff from World War II, and that's this time that he was born, Richard. So it was just it's very interesting information. I'm glad that people are taking interest in it. Oh, that's very nice, Lori, to say. Thank you. Yes, you sent me a clip of that, Moki, and I found the whole interview. Yeah, I found the entire interview. And yes, and I was telling Moki to Richard about the links you sent me, and you are excellent links and very great information. You have done amazing things to this channel. Yes, and by the way, we were talking about those links, and yes, you're the one that provided the links, and I found the whole interview. Right. Interview insulin case is boring as fuck and stop watching. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now the insulin trial is very strange under very strange circumstances, but yeah, facts. Yeah. Uh, yes, and the reason why it's like boring, I guess, is because the way they're talking and monotone and the way they're interviewing, it puts someone to sleep. So definitely it can do that, indeed. But I will say with the interview of the not the interview, but with the insulin trial, it's very yeah. They're not really zealous, and it could put someone to sleep. But the story itself is very strange. The circumstances. Right. Very good chat. All right, and Moki says, my aunt and I have been driving my mom nuts with all the alien talk. Oh, Lord. Scared. And so aliens are real. The truth is out there. And the Moki and I on this channel have been talking a lot about them. And she's been talking to, and I've been talking to my relatives about it too, and everybody in between. I've been all over the place on YouTube. I go in different chats on YouTube and talk about it. Oh, thank you, Richard. It's very nice. Very nice of you. And Moki says she thinks the lady will walk an insulin trial. Yeah, definitely. It definitely seems like it will be that way. Because it's under very strange circumstances, and the aliens are real, by the way, and they're either time travelers, fallen angels, or people, other planets. Yeah, definitely facts you need to know about. Oh, thank you, Moki. We love Hansel too. He's a good egg. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Oh, Denisha, very very good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Shout out to you. Lori said, my step grandpa Bops had a surname Schmidt too. Oh, that is so cool, Lori. That he had the same name. That's awesome. It's a very good name. It's popular too. Alien shaking my head. Yeah, shout out to you, Denisha. His first name was Ronald. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, the same initials, RS. Yes. It's interesting how things like that happen and dots connect. Yeah. And shout out to all of you. Appreciate you, everybody being here. And lethal dose of fentanyl on March 4, 2022. The prosecutors argued she slipped 5 times the lethal dose of synthetic opiates in the Moscow Mule cocktail, and she served him to celebrate his business deal. A pivotal witness for the prosecution was housekeeper who testified to synchronicity, definitely synchronicity. The selling RICHINS fentanyl pills multiple times in the weeks leading up to Eric's death. And synchronicity, I believe, is a real thing, and the dots connecting in the future when things may not make sense in a moment, they eventually connect over time. People, unrelated events in different places just work together. And Moki says there's a preliminary hearing in May for Robinson. That trial is ways off. I read that wrong. Okay, so it's ways off. Yeah, it'll be a while from now. But yeah, it'll be World War III, in that it'll be another a chat civil war in there when that happens. And yeah, I remember it's already divided, and it's going to be even more divided. And I don't think that, and some people do not like politics and say religion or politics, and that will be a very political chat. So for those to know is that Tyler Robinson assassinated Charlie Kirk. He's accused of it, and which believe that it's him. And Charlie Kirk was a political commentator, conservative political commentator, and so it's gonna be a very very politically heated trial. Yeah. So those are not interested in politics, they may want to sit out that trial, but it's going to be hectic. Yeah. Clancy is supposed to be in July. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. And other factors about the trial that I'll get to Clancy in a moment. And other factors about this trial that we just witnessed is, in addition to, oh, okay, Denisha. Of Well, thank you for dropping by, Denisha. I've Have a good night. Thank you. In addition to the fatal poisoning, Richins was convicted of attempting to murder her husband. Weeks earlier, on Valentine's Day, evidence suggested she gave him a fentanyl laced sandwich, caused him to break out hives and lose consciousness, leading Eric to tell friends he believed his wife was trying to poison him. He also took her out of his will and brought it to his sister, by the way. And loss of consciousness, leading Eric to tell friends he believed his wife was trying to poison him. The jury also found her guilty of financial crimes and concluding she forged her husband's signature on 250,000 home equity line of credit and fraudulently applied for nearly 2 million in life insurance policies without his knowledge. Prosecutor painted a picture of a woman driven by financial desperation, noting she was spiraling toward total financial collapse with over 3 million debt. They alleged her motive was to gain control of Eric's 5 million estate and start a new life with a man she was having an affair with. Digital evidence played a significant role as forensic analysts revealed her internet search history, including queries such as "What is a lethal dose of fentanyl?" and "Luxury prisons for rich Americans." Yeah. Now, people, just in defense, is that people will talk about all kinds of things and will, search for all kinds of weird things online. You know, one time during the Dalfine, the murders, I'm probably saying that wrong. It was when these two girls are murdered, and it was not a televised trial. There is the man that was accused of it. There are some ladies that were some other streamer. She was, and I would go over there and hang out with them, and they would have a panel, and I would be in the chat, giving my insight about the trial of not the trial, yeah, the trial. Although nobody was like physically there because there's no cameras, and I don't even think Law and Crime even covered it at all, if I'm not mistaken. And they were talking about they look up and search for weird things, and so that alone wouldn't necessarily be an indication. But I do, in my opinion, see correlations with a lot of these cases and their crimes, but it doesn't always mean that they're doing that because there's all kinds of things people will search for. But yeah, it's a definitely can be an indication. A lot of people, which I don't recommend people going to what I'm about to say, because it's a very fishy region of the internet. But there's the dark web, deep web, where people do a lot of criminal activity, and there's where they're not detected as easily. But these people, which I don't do anything wrong, I just things like that. I just know a lot about technology and what's going on. And people will do all stuff in the dark web because there's like the internet and there's like an iceberg, right? And there's all kinds of stuff underneath it. And everybody just sees the tip of it. Even Epstein himself, like he used the Gmail. Moki was showing us one time this website where they recreated Epstein's email, where people could just go in it and see what he was getting in his inbox. And that was incredible that they were able to reconstruct that. But yeah, he was using the clear web for what he was doing. But there's like a deep web where people use the dark web to do shady things, or other countries say that aren't free, that they could have a freedom of speech there where they don't have freedom of speech in other places. So it's important for people to have that. It can be used for all kinds of things. in the early days, people would use Bitcoin to do buy illicit drugs or firearms. Now it's more, you know, regulated, I would suppose, than it used to be. There's different cryptocurrencies that are used, more incognito cryptocurrencies that people use now, but that's what they did. And these criminals that we see in these trials, and Moki says it's Jmail, they keep adding and uploading it to. Oh, I'm glad that they're doing that. Thank you, Moki, for the update. And yeah, that was a cool thing to see. Because there's so much information coming out. There's millions and millions and millions of documents. I'm sure they're just still being released about that. And so some of those emails are just groundbreaking, revealing about what they're doing. So I'm glad that they're still updating it. And these criminals we see on the clear web, who are like the ones we see in the trials, they'll search for things and they'll think that they can't be found, but actually they can be found and they can be traced very easily. Something about Epstein that I will say is that he used Apple devices. He had a Mac, and he had, which I like Windows too. I like PC as well, but I also use Apple devices, but I like Windows as well. I like both. But okay, Lori said, I don't understand how people don't realize that it's really hard. There's a word that was a blooper probably, to get away with these things these days. But yeah, it's real hard to get away with these things. Yeah, this people, I think they're just not tech savvy enough to figure out that they're going to be caught. They really, like with Ted Bundy, for instance, and people like him, Charles Manson, it's good to have confidence like this for doing ventures for success or for a cause. It could be a good thing, but they're using the trait for something evil. And like, if someone goes out of business or gets ousted, they could always then make a comeback and come back stronger. That's what you usually would do, right? But in these situations, if they're going to murder somebody and you're just wasting your life in someone else's life, you're just ruining everyone's life, and you're going to be locked up in prison. There's thousands of serial killers and murderers, like these people we see in these trials. They get away with it every year. They are out there. There's many of them all over the place. But the ones that do get caught, they thought they could never get caught, but they're really sloppy. And you really look at the track record, and they're able to get caught easily. Like Ted Bundy he would go up to people and say, hi, my name's Ted. And he would just be blunt about it. And a lot of women thought he was creepy and got away from him. But there's some, unfortunately, that did go with him. And yeah, he wasn't even trying to hide it. But back then, it was so easy in these isolated incidences all over the country to hide from the law. And it was not like how it is now, definitely at all. Things have improved since then. But still, with these criminals, they think they can get away with it, especially with the search results that they have is very, damning evidence. They also, don't. Although I don't recommend anyone doing a crime, and this for educational purposes only, and I've not done anything like, anything criminal. I'm just a nice alien. But people that do those kind of things will use the dark web, and it's harder to track them. Okay, it's much harder to track them, especially when they have different IP address and there's IP spoofing, where you could just kind of do this like a spinning wheel, like a slot machine, and they can't really trace who the person is or where they're at. You see, they don't even do that, and they're probably not even savvy enough to do a thing like that. Thankfully, so they were caught. And how to get away with murder, LO. This made me think of a series of how to get... yeah, scared. But that is what they would do, is, getting away with it. They would... Yeah, VPNs, proxies. Yes, you could get a VPN and show that you're in a other country, like you're in Belgium somewhere, but you're really over in Texas, right? And people do that to watch movies and TV shows that they can't usually watch. Like, say if there's something bad in your country, but you could go say you're in Belgium somewhere, and oh, you're in Belgium, so you're gonna show you this, right? Like, say if I'm with Rome Behedral, Moki and I know him. If you're where Rome Behedral is, you can watch something you can't watch in America, right? And that's how the proxies and VPNs work. So people could use that, but they usually don't do that, which I'm glad that they don't, so we can catch them easier. I am. It's good that they made like when the computer pioneers are able to make it so it could be easier to catch criminals because they would use these things to try to do messed up things online, right? So that's why they made it. It could be with the forensic tools. There's all kinds of forensics tools that they use. They're able to catch it. But with Apple devices, this is something that I want to make clear. Oh, you failed. Aw. Scared. It was a Temu Sheen VPN proxy. Yeah, scared. Darn it. You have to say you're on Mars next time. And uh, maybe it was banned over where you were. Maybe you said you were in Africa, in the Nigeria or somewhere, but it was banned there too. So yeah, next time say you're on Mars and it'll be available there most likely. But yeah, I that sucks when it fails. But with because Epstein had these devices, and I of course I'm still releasing videos about the Epstein files. I'm still doing that, by the way. I definitely will. I'm still working on that. It's going to be a very very big project with Epstein. And I saw pictures of it. We saw it together on the show, but I've also seen pictures of his front room or one of the rooms, and he had an iMac from about 2011 or 2010, 2009, but probably 2010, 2011. And he had iPads and iPhones and a lot of these creeps. So with Epstein's case, there would emails I would see is that he would be talking to a redacted or talking to a CEO or some person on LinkedIn. LinkedIn. There's a LinkedIn thing where you could talk to professionals and get, I don't know, you want someone to do marketing or journalism or SEO for a website. They're all in this like social media platform you can contact, and everybody's on there. I think I'm on there. I think, but anyway, on LinkedIn, he was talking to some person on there that did marketing, right? And they're emailing about going to, say, an island or going to his apartment, not apartment, but his place in Manhattan to get creepy stuff done. Not necessarily creepy stuff, but it was creepy stuff. So the way they'll say it is an appointment, or they'll literally say a massage from one of the girls. It will, and he has these secretaries that will talk to people. So he had a whole business around this, like a whole checking desk and everything. And it doesn't mean that people are doing something creepy, but it's a very raises a red flag. And many of the people stepped down when they were caught. All these big CEOs, these big and people, these big corporations, all stepped down like dominoes all over the world, globally, even princes, even people in Saudi Arabia, everywhere. And it's really telling. So they're all using iPhones. And there is this thing, especially back in the 90s and maybe before that too, when Apple first came out, maybe the time of Scully too, which was a rival CEO of Jobs. There was the Mac was considered a weapon at one time, and it was banned in a couple of different countries because it was able to do things. It had abilities that the PC didn't really have, and it was very privacy oriented. It still is now. So, the PC is the most popular computer in the world. It's the main one that everybody uses. And actually, the PC copied off the Mac. Technically, there is Bill Gates was doing some work for him, and then he also both went to Xerox. So there's dispute about who copied off who, but yeah, there's some feuding over that. And the Mac was able to be considered a weapon. It could be very privacy oriented, and hypothetically, there's a rumor or like an urban legend that you can't really track it. It's you could be completely anonymous with it, and no one would really know what you're doing. There was a terrorist that was using an iPhone, and Apple refused to break open the code to reveal what was in there because it would violate their terms of service with their customers. The FBI wanted a backdoor, but they didn't give them the backdoor. Windows has all these backdoors everywhere, and there's lots of ads in it. So, in theory, it's like completely like a deep web server. That's why a lot of these criminals and the people like Epstein use the Apple devices because they believed it was more private. And Lori says, we used to code words in high school to talk about cute guys. Teachers just thought we were nuts. Well, see, that was the first form of encryption. See, y'all were that was like I wrote notes in class to people too. We would the girlfriend and I and a friend and the other girl, we would write in code and talk to each other. So if the teacher received the note, they would not see it. I made this whole key. I learned from Mission Impossible, a TV series about. Oh yes, and Richard said they also looked at the IBM systems. Yes, that is true too. IBM was a big rival to them back then. I'm not savvy enough to get away with anything. Yeah, Lori, she would definitely be caught, the first one caught, and this during the spy mission, when they Mission Impossible, when they said if any of your people get caught or killed, the secretary will disavow any knowledge of your actions. They're talking about Lori specifically. So it shot to Lori, but one day I believe she'll eventually get it, but it's a funny thing. Yes, groundbreakers. Yes, definitely. So I would come up with this key. Because the Mission Impossible, there was this episode that had to do with the Soviet Union. There was this Timu dude that was his parents were, I think, based off of the Rosenbergs, that gave the Russians, the Soviet Union, our nuclear information, our nuclear missiles, and not missiles, but the nuclear, how to build a nuclear bomb, right? The Rosenbergs committed treason, and they brought the information to the Soviet Union. And thank you for the link. And okay, statements of Eric's sister. We're gonna read that right now. But yeah, and they were trying to crack the code, and all these random numbers and letters mixed together. So that is what we were in school. I did the same thing. I'm putting the link up for right now for everybody to see. I would put these random symbols and stuff and talk to my friends with the code, and so nobody would know what we were talking about, by the way. And I would have a key about how to crack the code. So that was something cool I learned. Okay, chat, we're going to go to the other window and look at this.
Our family lost the brightest light. Eric is deeply loved and missed every single day. We are grateful to everyone who has worked tirelessly to bring justice for Eric. Our focus is now on honoring Eric's life and supporting his boys as we all continue to heal. Thank you all for being here. 4 years ago, our family lost the brightest light. Eric is deeply loved and missed every single day. We are grateful to everyone who has worked tirelessly to bring justice for Eric. Our focus is now on honoring Eric's life and supporting his boys as we all continue to heal. Thank you all for being here. 4 years ago, our family lost the
Chat, I am on now. I'm on. I was not on before. All right, so I had a moment where my microphone was off. So I will say yes. I'm no longer muted. I'm no longer muted. I'm on. I say thanks. the brilliant I'm such a genius with my Timu Sheen IQ. I got myself muted, and now I'm unmuted. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to just do this whole thing all over again and react to this, everybody. So by the way, Lori, it's a different Rosenberg, and the Rosenberg was a good Rosenberg, the Einstein Rosenberg, but The one I'm talking about is Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were people that were convicted of spying for the Soviet Union, and they sent information to the USSR about how to build nuclear weapons. That was what the Mission Possible episode was based off of. All right, it's going to react to this another time. Okay, here we go.
The brightest light. Eric is deeply loved and missed every. 4 years ago, our family lost the brightest light. Eric is deeply loved and missed every single day. We are grateful to everyone who has worked tirelessly to bring justice for Eric. Our focus is now on honoring Eric's life and supporting his boys as we all continue to heal. Thank you all for being here.
All right, so shout out to the sister of Eric's sister, and rest in peace to him. He will never be forgotten, and I'm glad that he has gotten himself justice. And no, Lori, that is completely on topic because it has to do with the alien stuff. Be as ADD as you need to. That is awesome. Thank you for the information. Until his birthday in May, yes. And it says Eric Richins' sister, Amy Spook. No, it's Amy spoke briefly. Oh, I'm being a dingbat. Okay, I'm thinking Amy Spook or spoke as a name. No, it means that Amy spoke briefly. I'm being a dodo bird. Okay, so Eric Richins' sister, Amy, spoke briefly after the verdict 4 years ago on Our Family Lost the Brightest Light. Eric is deeply loved and missed every single day. We are grateful to everyone who has worked tirelessly to bring justice for Eric. Our focus is now on honoring Eric's life and supporting his boys. We are all continue to heal. Thank you all for being here. Well, I appreciate that. It was very nice of her to say to a statement for everybody. Shout out to her and the family. Prayers for them. We will always remember Eric. Very much appreciate that. Okay, so thank you, Moki, for the link. All right. Now on to the ramblings. Oh, I am the best Sheen Timu CEO there is. Thank you, Lori. You in chat as well. Best chat on the internet. All right. So with the episode with what the Soviets did, he had all these secret codes like AB means A. Oh, okay, Mermaid. Thank you for listening in. Shout out to you, fam. Welcome. Thanks for being here. It's I remember one time, Lori, one of my aliens was showing me a picture of some goofy like a nerd character like flexing or trying to work out, and it was like a funny picture. And there was like a strong dude in like another picture like on a poster, and I was like looking at it for like an hour to figure out what I was looking at, and I said, "Oh, I get it now." And the dude was like, "Dude, it took you 5 minutes." I guess that's that Temu Sheen buffer. Hilarious chat. Hilarious. All right. So that's what that episode had to do with. It was the dude's son. It was I would say, based off of the son of Rosenberg's, right? And he was going to, because he was angry his parents were executed. So he was trying to start a nuclear war with Russia to get America destroyed. Back. I keep finding interesting links. Yeah. Yeah, Moki is the goddess queen of the interesting links. It's her magic, definitely a magician of links, indeed. All over the place. Oh, facts. Reptilian alien video. Facts. Oh, yeah, hilarious. Lori, indeed. All right, and let's see about this one right here. So we're going back to this window. But yeah, that was the episode had to do with. All right, and we got ourselves a Israel VIP P-file ring victim found dead after revealing Jeffrey Epstein is still alive. Well, I'm not surprised about that. Oh, thank you for the link. All right, so let's look at this this reptilian stuff right here, and then we'll get into the Epstein exposed. Whoa.
¿Qué es eso, hermano? Parece una rana gigante.
¡Muévete, muévete!
No, no se acerquen, se está mirando.
¡Bájate de ahí! ¡Eso no es persona, güey!
Ay, Dios mío.
A hunched humanoid figure perched on the edge of a terracotta rooftop. Its skin glistens under the streetlights, scaly and taut like a frog's, but its limbs are too long. It turns its head, just for a second, and the eyes flash, reflective like an animal's. Look at the way it moves, not like a person, not like any animal we know. People in the comments are calling it a reptilian. Others say it's some kind of hybrid. But here's the real question. What is it doing there? Parecía una rana.
Yeah, this thing is absolutely crazy. It definitely is more of an amphibian. Definitely more amphibian. Yes.
Pero con cara de hombre. It looked like a frog, with a man's face. It wasn't human. It watched us. Now, some say this is CGI. Others swear it's proof that aliens are already here, hidden in plain sight. And if this is real, how many more are out there?
En el techo.
¿Qué es eso, hermano? Parece una rana gigante.
¡Muévete, muévete!
No, no se acerquen, se está
Oye,
mirando.
¡bájate de ahí! ¡Eso no es persona, güey!
Ay, Dios mío.
All right, so that is that clip right there. Okay, now we're going to the next one. About Epstein. Yeah. Yes, it's our friend Frog. Yeah, that was him. Oh, okay. The other night, Frog was telling me his ghost stories, and he was under his house, hiding from the FBI. So that must have been what he was talking about. That must have been a Frog sighting. Yeah, that's Frog from our chat.
En el
Yep.
techo.
¿Qué es eso, hermano? Parece una rana gigante.
¡Muévete, muévete!
No, no se acerquen, se está
Oye,
mirando.
¡bájate de ahí! ¡Eso no es persona, güey!
Ay, Dios mío.
A hunched humanoid figure perched on the edge of a terracotta rooftop. Its skin glistens under the streetlights, scaly and taut like a frog's, but its limbs are too long. It turns its head, just for a second, and the eyes flash, reflective like an animal's. Look at the way it moves, not like a person, not like any animal we know. People in the comments are calling it a reptilian. Others say it's some kind of hybrid. But here's the real question. What is it doing there? Parecía una rana, pero con cara de hombre. It looked like a frog.
Not wearing his thongs at all. Just being himself, farting, and not giving viewer discretion advised. Not giving a flying fuck. Nope. No thongs. No nothing. A complete free spirit.
With a man's face, it wasn't human. It watched us. Now, some say this is CGI. Others swear it's proof that aliens are already here, hidden in plain sight. And if this is real, how many more are out there?
En el techo.
¿Qué es eso, hermano? Parece una rana gigante.
¡Muévete, muévete!
No, no se acerquen, se está
Oye,
mirando.
¡bájate de ahí! ¡Eso no es persona, güey!
Ay, Dios mío.
All right, very excellent clip. And listener discretion advised. You see, Lori, there I go again. You will now know that I am telling the truth when I say I'm the Temu Sheen CEO, when it's actually listener discretion advised instead of viewer, because it's what I'm saying. Exactly. Yeah, definitely very cool, even if it's fake. It was a very good creation, and it was well done, indeed. Yeah, so scared. Yeah, Lori, Moki. It definitely the frog's stories were really. He told me about his ghost story. So he was sitting watching some jokesters one time, like in a video, and he said a misty white apparition appeared for 30 seconds and moved out the room and disappeared. And he told me, I told him, did he have any bad luck on Friday the 13th? And he said that He was in bed with a bunch of all the goats were in his bed, and one was over uh, on the furniture. So that was wild. So it was very funny. Yeah.
Government has been found dead. Officials are calling it non-suspicious. But this story is explosive. Shoshana Strzok was a daughter of a powerful member of Netanyahu's cabinet, raised inside the system until she chose to expose it. Months ago, she came forward with bombshell allegations that, as a child of a powerful Israeli political family, she was trafficked through a hidden network of elite abusers protected by money, influence, and power. Then, she went further. She confirmed that Jeffrey Epstein isn't dead, that his death was staged and he was expatriated to Israel, that he was an intelligence asset, that he's still operating in the shadows, moving among the same powerful circles she said destroyed her childhood. On Sunday, she was found dead, in very suspicious circumstances. If this was meant to silence her, it backfired, because the elite are getting desperate, and they're making sloppy mistakes. And sloppy cover-ups don't hide the truth, they expose it. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the People's Voice Locals community to join our incredible community, support the channel, and gain access to exclusive and uncensored content. According to Israeli media reports, Shoshana Strzok, the daughter of Israel's Minister of Settlement and National Missions, Orit Strzok, was found dead overnight in her house. Authorities say the 34-year-old's body was transferred to a forensic institute to determine the cause of death. The authorities have opened an investigation, with initial reports suggesting suicide, though the circumstances surrounding her death remain unclear. Strzok had previously drawn public attention after accusing members of the government, including her own family,
Yeah, it's just this censorship that they will do, and doing this to their own people is absolutely disgusting. And I definitely do think he was an intelligence asset, and rest in peace to her. And I'm glad that her mother confirmed it. Is that, yeah, they will take out people left and right, like Nancy Guthrie, and could have been taken out. The McCasland, yeah, they did it all the time. There's even some rumors that JFK may have been taken it out too. They'll do that. They'll do that. If people are talking too much, even the mafia did that too. All these groups, these crime syndicates, always do stuff like that.
including mother, father, and brother, of sexual abuse and ritual exploitation during her childhood. In a video released last year, she alleged that she had been taken to paedophilia rituals from a very young age and subjected to systematic abuse.
היי, אני שושנה סטרוק, גדלתי ביישוב היהודי בחברון. אחי מגיל...
By the way Hebrew is read, it's not like how our language, it's like you're reading Moki, Alien's Angel. The way Hebrew is, it's right to left. By the way, just as a fun fact, Arabic and Hebrew is right to left. Oh, Lori, if that thing jumped out on me, I would be scared. Yeah, that would be crazy. Yeah, scared. Lord. You'll see four of me.
בגיל 2.5, ההורים שלי היו לוקחים אותי לטקסים פדופילים, שבהם כמו אילפו אותי, תכנתו אותי באמצעות סמים, באמצעות היפנוזה, באמצעות פגיעות מיניות.
Basically saying she was a... Yeah, so it's in graphic novel reading form. Yes. 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 Yeah. Yeah, and I will say, I would be scared. Lord. It's Frog himself without his thongs. That would be cool. It'll be a Frog Alien chill stream, but I would be scared. Scared. Yeah, that would be crazy. It would be Frog himself. Yeah. We'll do an interview, but it'd certainly be out of this world. I just Luke to feel cool. Yeah, I didn't know Luke was a new term, but okay, like, yeah, you read graphic novels. Well, you see, Lori, at Temu Sheen, there is a bunch of free graphic novels. Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, so she's saying she was sexually abused and was in these P-file traffic rings.
ובעצם הם יצרו אצלי כל מיני חלקים, כל מיני זהויות. החל מגיל 13 אבא שלי התחיל לסרסר בי בתל אביב, עשה עליי כסף מה שנקרא. הפגיעות המשיכו עד גיל די מאוחר. בעצם מה שקרה עכשיו זה שאפילו שכבר פרסמתי את זה ואפילו שכבר סיפרתי, אבא שלי ממשיך לפגוע בי. הוא הגיע לדירה שלי, ואני שכרתי דירה באופן עצמאי, גרתי לבד. הוא הגיע לדירה ופגע בי שוב. הוא הביא איתו גם עוד בן אדם. את הבן אדם הזה הוא בעצם מכשיר כדי שיוכלו להמשיך לסרסר בי גם אחרי שאבא שלי ימות. כי ככה זה עובד, הם מעבירים את זה ככה דורות בין הדורות, את הפגיעה, את הסרסור, את הניצול המיני.
Basically saying how she had, different personalities, there, different identities into her, and the pimping that happened, and these very traumatic sexual encounters that she had. Lori, it boggles my mind too. There's going to be tons, maybe I could say, I wouldn't be surprised if it's millions of them. Yeah, we need to do the rain dance to summon Frog. We need to do the rain dance to summon Frog. My man, Frog. He's going to be farting through the chat. Yeah. And we're going to show him a video of him in Mexico without his thongs. He was being a bad boy again. Then he's going to go in my garden. I'm doing one of my late night garden lives. And he's going to pop out on me. And there's going to be a syntax error and the Windows startup sound and 4 aliens and be scared. Yeah, that'd be crazy. Yeah. So I'm serious. I got to do the the thong dance. That's my favorite dance to do, actually. See, Lori knows the dark secrets of Alien Spaceship, and she was not going to hesitate. Yep, the thong dance to summon Frog on the live stream. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that, and I'm gonna wear some feathers. I'm gonna do the thong dance for him to come in. It'll be like a whole twerking of dancing session of the thong dance. Then he will be summoned, and smoke will clear. His the farts, smoke will clear, and then we'll see that frog thing we saw, and then the party will really start. It's gonna be the most intense moment in internet history. It's like, yeah, it'll be the frog finale. Frog legs himself. Frog thongs. Scared.
של ילדים, את הניצול המיני של נשים. מאז הפגיעה האחרונה עזבתי את הדירה שלי, אין לי בית. לבינתיים מצאתי כמה אנשים טובים שמשכילים לארח אותי כל אחד לכמה ימים, אבל אין לי ממש דרך לפרנס את עצמי, כיוון שאני מתמודדת עם הפרעת זהות דיסוציאטיבית, זה נקרא DID.
Tragically, her experience wasn't unusual.
Yeah, it just... yeah, her experience was... There's these things happening in the apartment, and this prostitution and her experience with Epstein. And I just... See, they don't even care about their own people. They'll do this to anybody. Take on their own people out is very messed up, and definitely an intelligent asset. And Tel Aviv right now, by the way, is being bombarded heavily at the moment. And after the attacks on Iran. So there are all kinds of stuff going on, in that region right now. So just for the record, anyway. And Lori said, "Bless you all. I needed that laugh more than I can express." Well, Lori, you went on the Thong Express tonight, okay? And I am not sorry at all. No remorse about making you laugh like that. All right. It's the with a frog, that frog thing that we saw. He's gonna be the conductor. All aboard, fart, ribbit, ribbit. And we all brought people in on the crazy train. Yeah. All right.
The average age of females entering sex work in Israel is 12 to 14. At least 4,000 children are married to adults in Israel every year. Like many victims, Shoshana studied psychology to help her understand the abuse. She was also determined to help other victims and end the cycle of trauma.
מאוד אשמח לכל עזרה כדי שאני אוכל להגשים את החלום שלי ולעזור גם לנשים אחרות שעברו פגיעות טקסיות. אמנם אני עכשיו במצב קשה, אבל
And she said that it was her dream and her desire to help other girls that were being abused in these ritualistic, horrible activities.
בהשכלה שלי אני למדתי פסיכולוגיה ויש לי חלום לעזור לאנשים אחרים
She has a master's degree in psychology.
שעברו פגיעות טקסיות. אני אשמח לכל עזרה. תודה רבה לכם.
She later returned to Israel to file an official police complaint and requested protection, saying she feared threats from powerful individuals connected to the crimes.
היי, רציתי לשתף משהו אחרי תקופה ארוכה שאני סוחבת את זה עם עצמי. קוראים לי שושנה סטרוק. אני עברתי פגיעה מינית בילדות על ידי שני ההורים.
Now, what you mean is a juxtaposition, but what you really meant to say was a thong in the right position. A thong to position. That's the pose I make, the thong position. And I'll be fair here, with juxtaposition intuition.
הפגיעה המינית צולמה. זה אומר שזה בעצם שימש לפורנוגרפיית ילדים. אני גם נפגעתי מינית בתור ילדה, אבל גם בעצם כנראה שאני נמצאת כרגע תחת איומים של גורמים עבריינים יותר גדולים. אני מאוד לא מבינה בעולם הזה. אני מרגישה מאוימת. אני הגשתי תלונה במשטרה על ההורים שלי. לפני שיצאתי מהארץ, עכשיו חזרתי
she's using a pornography, and she's returned to Israel, and she's trying to fight for the cause of exposing these things. Yeah. Oh, on that note, I'm making fudge brownies now. Hilarious. I know, it's like when we're watching, and it's like a juxtaposition of I'm glad these victims in Israel spoke out, by the way. And yeah, chat, hilarious. With Alien Song Party. A thong freak off. With Frog. And yeah, so I just think it's disgraceful that they did this to their own people like this. Yeah. But I said they're very brave women to speak out about it. I'm glad the women speak out about it. It's very important they do.
Her mother, Orit Struk, a minister in Benjamin Netanyahu's government, confirmed the death on social media, writing that her heart is broken over the passing of her daughter. It's worth pointing out that her mother did not support her daughter while she was blowing the whistle on the elite paedophile ring operating at high levels in Israeli society. Instead, everything to expose the elite's paedophile ring and Israel's most powerful politicians, or the mother, who serves in Netanyahu's cabinet. The same government that's driving the world towards World War III, just as Shoshana warned they would, to distract the world from the damning revelations in the Epstein files. Stay tuned. What you're about to see could blow the lid off the network and bring the untouchable down with it. Today's sponsor is pillsforever.com. If you think big f***ing order medicines that Big Pharma don't want,
what did they take?
Listen to this bombshell interview with Mel Gibson, who says 3 of his friends.
Yes, I I summon Frog with the wizard. Moki has summoned Frog, and Lori said, I too hereby do summon the entity that is Frog. And I said, Frog, a thong, Dabra, Kazam. We will, in time, see our frog. Scared.
Friends who had terminal cancer were cured by the very same ivermectin and fenbendazole available at pillsforever.com.
Lori can. We will have the Timu Sheen staff handle all that for you in a thongtastic way. Consider it done.
I have 3 friends. All 3 of them had stage 4 cancer. All 3 of them don't have cancer right now at all. And they had some serious stuff going on.
And what did they take?
Jesus. They took some, what you've heard they've taken.
Ivermectin?
Fenbendazole.
Fenbendazole.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to Joe Rogan. All this is fair use, by the way. And you see, basically what bro is talking about is what Mel Gibson, he did Passion of the Christ. He did very good in Hamlet. I get them mixed up, chat. It's either Macbeth or Hamlet. I have to look that up. But because I get those 2 stories mixed up all the time, okay? I think it was probably... it was probably Hamlet. I think I'm right about that. But I really don't know for certain. But he did whatever it was a Shakespeare thing. He did very good in that. So, and there's... y'all don't know this other lady I knew since 2020 probably. Or 2021. She's a nurse. She knows a lot of information. She told me back during the time of the COOF. Oh, thank you, Lori. Y'all do too. The time of the COOF 19 happened. She said ivermectin is something that works for treating the COOF 19, and it's something used for horses, but it also could be used for humans too. And you get it from a pharmacy, so it works. And she even told me how you could take it from the horse kind or the other kind, hypothetically. So yeah, she told me that it works, and now it's coming out that it does. Just as a fun fact for everybody. And the Timu Sheen media will do what they can to censor it, but that's really the whole point, is that it will help with these conditions, with all kinds of things. Yeah, anyway. You see, the pharmacies and the corporations, all these stupid things, they like to make cash money off people, in my opinion. Although I'm not a medical professional or anything like that, but I do think that there is a way where people want to have as much information as possible to be hidden. She even told me that the pharmaceutical companies want to make money, right? And it's lucrative. So if they had people being actually cured from diseases, they maybe not be as lucrative. So there's a theory that all the medicines and everything that's there is designed to destroy us. There's something I saw a couple of years ago where the Hitler figured out some way to cure cancer, allegedly, because his mother had it. His mother had breast cancer, and it was released, or the Third Reich figured out a way to get it out there. But apparently there's some sort of... and blueberries allegedly can help with cancer, but there's some cures to it that they don't want people to know about. That is something that I learned a conspiracy theory about. There was, by the way, there's so many things with... when I was little, they would have this cure, right? The breast cancer cure. Oh, hello, Anna. Welcome to chat. Oh, great to be here. Oh, glad that you were here. There was this breast cancer operation. Not operation, but there's this breast can... I said that wrong. There is a breast cancer movement, which I think is a good to have breast cancer movement. And it has like a pink ribbon. Oh, I should not be on mute. I should be talking. And Anna, Richard is my grandpa, by the way. He came to join us. And Anna is a friend of mine from the trial chats. Anyway. So... you're welcome. Okay, so Lori says, straight up, when I stopped getting flu shots, 20 years ago, I stopped getting flu. Oh, yeah, exactly, because that's what I think. I think with the flu shots, it actually gives you the disease. I think it does the opposite. And I think it's good to do things to cure breast cancer. I'm glad that they did research on it to do what they can to help them. But I thought to myself when I was a kid, I'm sure 100 years from now they're going to do the same thing. Because with the breast cancer thing, you would pay. Okay, on my end, I think that I think people could hear me. Maybe it's your end. I'm not too sure. Yes, yes. Richard's waiting patiently for the alien interview video. Right, right. I paused the video clip, so right. I paused the video clip of Joe Rogan. Oh, Joe Rogan's your uncle. Okay, so anyway, I'm not on mute, but the video is paused. Okay, the video is paused. So, by the way, anyway, so what I am doing is you would pay $5 for free dress. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, they're never going to get the cure of cancer at this rate because everyone's giving $5 for free dress. And you buy a shirt for the cure, you buy merch for the cure. They're making all this money for the cure. And by doing that, you have a situation at hand where they're making a lot of money from the cure. There you go. That's the whole point. So yeah, I think that the flu shots, a lot of vaccines may not be completely for what people want. So that's what it is. All right, and now I'm going to play more Joe Rogan. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot.
They drank hydrochloride something or other.
Get 15% off using coupon code People's Voice at the checkout. Please click the link below this video to take advantage of this fantastic offer. Pedophile cult, one that traces back nearly 9,000 years, is facing the greatest threat it's ever known: exposure. Following Shoshana Struk's revelations, Israeli MP Avi Maoz is leading the charge inside the Knesset. His warning is explosive. Netanyahu cannot be allowed to continue blackmailing the world and protecting the paedophile ring. Paedophilia is a perversion, Maoz said. Paedophilia is a disgusting phenomenon, and I'll do everything in my power to make sure the children of Israel are not abandoned because of one agenda or another. Maoz says that behind closed doors, steps are underway to legalise paedophilia and to grant legal immunity to tens of thousands of known abusers who continue to operate with.
Yeah, this is very disgusting that Israel is doing this to its people like this. I think that pedophiles, and I've talked to you all about another time about the pedophile thing, and some civilizations do it, but this civilization looks like it's trying to do it too, and they gotta care for their own people, but they don't. You know, they just, as I said, just like with everything that happens throughout history, their people always get like the short end of the stick over it throughout the entire time. You know, and I'm glad they're exposing it, because these women, these people don't need to be treated like that. And there's a thing that I saw where if there's criminals that go over there, they can't extradite them back to the United States. You know, so they just made it into a safe haven. All right, so here we go.
With impunity inside Israel. He warns the predators see themselves as chosen, ordained by God. In their minds, abusing children isn't a crime at all, but an ancient right granted to them by divine authority. Victims like Shoshana Struk are now stepping forward with horrific.
All right, well, this is I'm going to give you all a nice history lesson right now. All right, so being the chosen people does not mean that the Jewish people, the Israelites, whatever the current group is, can't do whatever they want. Okay, this is not what God wanted them to do. And throughout history, throughout the biblical narratives, and people could dispute if the current Israel people are the ones from the original Israelites or not. People could dispute that, but this group always had a problem with going against God and coming up with their own rules. So, they built a golden calf in the desert, and Moses was like, bro, don't do that. And that was Baal, right? So they worship Baal. We know throughout, Moki and I have talked about the Baal worship, which is the devil. And they misinterpreted when Jesus himself came, which in Islam, he's a prophet, and Christianity, some people believe he's a prophet, other people believe, like I do, that he's God in human form, the Trinity. There's Trinitarianism and there's Unitarianism. So there's different groups that believe in Jesus, others don't. So a lot of them don't believe Jesus was a Messiah because he didn't, well, he fulfilled everything in their things that a Messiah does. But what these people don't understand is that they thought Jesus was going to be this revolutionary leader that was going to defeat Rome and do all these things, but Jesus will make a peaceful globe and will be stationed in Israel and make it into a true, legitimate place, but in his own timing. But he was talking about a spiritual kingdom, of saving their eternal salvation. So they always had this misinterpretation. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So they cannot do anything bad to anybody else. They can't look down on the other, which they call Gentiles. There's a derogatory term called a goyim that they say. But yeah, and it looks like they're doing it to their own people now. So yeah, that doesn't mean they need to go and do that to children. No, that's not what it means. It was that God selected them because there's all these pagans and things, and they were like the underdog, and God knew that they were difficult and wanted to choose them to spread his message, do his will. Spread, and Israel be blessed, and then spread throughout the world. That's what God wanted. And there's many good ones throughout history. But you got these little factions of them like this that are misinterpreting it and just using the religion for something wicked. Right. So those that really believe in that stuff, like say Epstein and those people, that is completely not what God wanted them to do. And I believe it's really satanic at the end of the day. It's like God would never want people to be treated like that or hurt. So, and when Jesus came, it was the way to bring the truth throughout the world. And that's what the point was. He wanted to save the whole world. So there's different misinterpretations about what a chosen person is to them. So, yeah. Anybody that like Jesus said, if you hurt a child, let him have a rope tied around his neck and be thrown into the sea. As I said, there's many good Israelites, good Jews, and there are Christian ones too. But it's just, these are misinterpreting this whole point. And there's a lot of them that are atheistic, and there's also some involved with communism. There's conspiracies about that, and about the whole different factions. But it doesn't mean all of them are into that. Just there's little groups of them inside the faction that misinterpret it. Right. So it doesn't mean some person down the street that's Jewish is going to be involved in this kind of thing. No. But it's like, yeah, these individuals like Epstein and those cronies completely are just using it for evil purposes. And they misinterpret what God's message was. Right. And Lori says, my gut says Jesus was a living example of our potential. And sadly, the people who heard him failed to see that. Just an old scholarly pagan's opinion. Well, I appreciate that opinion. And he definitely, that's what it was. Jesus was an example for all people, and he was very nice to children. He even healed people that were not part of the tribe of Israel. He healed them, the Philistines. I don't know if it was the Philistines. Maybe I gotten that wrong. I think I got, it's a PH word, but I got it wrong, by the way. That was a little bit farther back in the histories. But there was these different tribes that Jesus healed a woman that was not part of the Israelites group, and they got mad at him. He healed lepers. He healed people, and that's what, and we believe as the Trinitarian Christians, that he was a God in human form. Others believe, either Unitarians or Muslims, believe that he was a prophet. Right. And so there's something called Arianism, which was this faction of Christianity that believed that he was one, that God is one person and Jesus is a prophet. Right. So there's all these different people that believe in Jesus in different ways, but the mainstream Christianity version is that there's a Trinity, and he's an attribute of God in human form. So Jesus was God on earth, and that's what he wanted people to do. And the Pharisees and the corrupted religious leaders turned against him and crucified him, and then his message spread throughout the world. So, and he will return, we believe, and he will create the true state of Israel, a legitimate Israel, and he will make peace, world peace, and after defeating the Antichrist. And yeah, so they were always in error. Now, God would bless them over victory over different enemies throughout time, but they were in grave error about what they did. Right. Actually makes me quite mad because people think where we would be right now, people had arisen to Jesus' height of humble integrity. It all sounds possible to you. Yes, yes. And people do not have to believe in Jesus or the Abrahamic God. They don't want to. People have a free will to choose, but we will over here we talk about Christ and invite people to the good news about him. And he was very, yeah, if everybody followed Jesus' teachings, even if they were not religious, the world would be a much better place. Forgive your brethren, because they had these laws where, forgive your brethren 70 times 7 and turn the other cheek. Now, it doesn't mean to be passive. You can still fight or defend yourself. Nothing's wrong with that. But you have to go and God had a different moral code for people to follow, and he's very similar to Buddha. Buddha and Jesus are very similar. They actually said similar things. All the different prophets that were in different regions of the world all said similar things like what Jesus said. So, yeah, it's a little overall history about the Israelites, and does that mean not all of them are bad, or not generalizing a whole group of people? Everybody is different and thinks different ways, but these Epstein type people, okay, they're using their religion as a perversion of what, and those that think that are completely missing the mark of what God wanted people to do. So I believe Jesus was an example for all people, right? And and it's satanic and evil to hurt a child, especially for personal pleasure, right? And thank you, Lori, for your thoughts, even as a pagan, about these things. Jesus taught us to, love all people. So, and I appreciate your take on this. So, yeah, that is that take, and I will continue with this clip. Okay.
Stories of abuse. Stories that are being systematically buried by the Netanyahu government.
And the recent investigation by Israel Hayon into the ritual gang by, again, members of the educational community, the religious instruction community, so rabbis, leaders of the community, family members and relatives. This is another very important point to be made. And many of these gangs were conducted under some kind of macabre religious ceremony where the child was offered up as sacrifice for redemption for those performing the gang. And in many cases, from what I read from the testimonies, children were told that if they didn't offer themselves up for this ritual sacrifice, and then another child from the family would be taken in their place. So it's a complete
You see, that mirrors the Baal sacrifice. When they would sacrifice children to Baal, and this is back when Israelites were in error, they would offer their kids up to Baal, and they would place in the altar, and they would burn it alive. So yeah, same type of thing. And this is all perversion, all error. This is not what Moses or any prophets from the ancient Israelites to Jesus or his disciples wanted people to do. These are complete, perversions.
Destruction of a child's mental state and their emotional and spiritual state.
Which brings us to Epstein, because according to investigators,
I'm just eclectic. I like to keep my mind and spirit open to as much wisdom as I can encounter, as long as it doesn't hit my gut or dark evil. Yeah, it's good to stay away from dark and evil things. Yes, I definitely agree. Right. Indeed.
Mental state and their emotional and spiritual state.
Which brings us to Epstein, because according to investigators, What we're seeing in Israel isn't isolated. It's part of a coordinated, systematic network, a machine that runs through globalist power structures, including the World Economic Forum, designed to normalize the unthinkable: paedophilia, ritual abuse, murder, and blackmail.
Let's go to the Attorney General. Did she fail to prosecute Epstein and others for crimes committed under her jurisdiction when she was the Attorney General of the state of Florida?
She did. Well, it's hard to know how much her arm was twisted. Everybody except for Donald Jr., I guess, in those clips, when they were asked, what's important to you? What did they say? Their relationship with Israel. That's all they care about. They probably looked at the list, found out it went back to Israel, and that was it. The list was gone. And
yes, absolutely, Moki. Definitely agree. Very interesting stuff.
The list was gone the day Netanyahu came to visit again. He said, "Get rid of it."
What is the connection to Israel? Was Epstein a Mossad asset?
1,000% he was. First off, Epstein did not create this compromise ring. He walked into a pre-existing nexus. They've been doing this. And if anybody's like, oh, our greatest ally, would Israel really run an operation that included child? Israel shoots children. Israel shoots people in line begging for food. And Israel is the go-to haven for pedophile refugees. They all know if you get caught, you can flee to Israel and get away with it.
Epstein wasn't an anomaly. He was one of many. The disturbing mindsets underpinning these crimes come straight from Talmudic teachings that rabbis use to excuse abuse, keep victims silent, and justifies Israel's trafficking in adrenochrome industries. Rabbi Yeshoshua B. Gordon makes it disturbingly clear.
A Jew who engages in intimacy with a non-Jewish woman, bein ktana bas shalosh shana, whether she is 3 years old, and up, bein gdela, or she's an adult woman over 12 or 12 and a half, bein pnuya, whether she is available, bein eshes or not, even if he was 9 years old, as we learned earlier again and again. That's the beginning when intimacy has an effect with a man, then the courts could possibly take her to court and try to apply capital punishment if there are witnesses, etc., who warned them, because the Jew ran into a problem due to this encounter. This is specified in the Torah, as it says with the Midianites, that these girls were sent out by the Midianite leaders to entrap the Jewish young men, as it says in the biblical story of Bilam.
We're up against the pedophile cult.
Mermaid says, I'm a Zionist, but I believe it, I guess. Yeah, and understood, Mermaid. Thank you for saying your thoughts about this. And it doesn't mean that, all of them are bad, but there are, people like Epstein and these different groups that are involved with him that are doing these types of things. It's different factions who believe different things. And yes, they don't believe in eventually Christ will return, but they don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah. I'm not saying like all Jewish people are bad, but these individuals specifically we're talking about, they're involved in these pedophile rings, I think are completely missing the mark, and they're using they're perverting God's religion for something nefarious that I'm sure that most people, Jew or not, would be against. But you just have these, real bizarre factions that are into this stuff. Yeah. And this clip is almost over. There we go.
That's been operating for nearly 9,000 years. One that's hijacked the mainstream media, corrupted Hollywood, and is flooding the world with its poison. Another generation is being stolen in plain sight. New victims are created every single day, maybe even in your own city. Enough is enough. This trafficking empire, this adrenochrome machine, must be ripped out, root and branch. No more hiding, no more excuses, no more looking the other way. The time to act isn't tomorrow, it's right now. Because the elite are desperate, and Netanyahu and his spy agencies have repeatedly declared war on Americans.
Right, and Loki says, it's not about Jewish people, it's about the country and the leaders, know what I mean? Yeah, it's not about the Jewish people or anything like that. It just so their officials and the people in power over there seem to have some corruption to them. It doesn't mean that even a Zionist movement isn't necessarily illegitimate. It's just these people have hijacked the movement, mermaid, and perverted it for their own, bizarre interests that Epstein, and them were connected with. Right. And Jews are fine. Yes. Okay. You get it, mermaid. Yes. Yeah. And I was raised Catholic, but I went to a Jewish summer camp growing up, and they taught me how to swim and all kinds of things. It was they're very good to me. So yeah, there's nothing against Jews or even the movement of them. It's just we want this movement to not be corrupted and distorted by these Epstein type people that hijacked it. Right. And there you go. Well said, Moki and Jack and Mermaid. And Lori said, I feel anytime humans are involved or get or terrible things will happen when we have the Tim Shell free will, because that's the point, to make loving choice. Then we own our choice rather than. Yes, absolutely. So thank you, Moki, very much for the link. Absolutely. All right, going this way. Shout out to Moki for the link. And Moki said, I don't even trust our own government, much less anyone else. Yeah, definitely, because we are some hardcore conspiracy theorists, and we don't trust anything. And even if something is completely not true, we just want the people to be out there to see what people are saying and what's going on, possible theories about them. So definitely, yes, indeed, Moki. Right, and I think that it is people should have be able to say what they're going to say, and I hope that all these creepy p files that are satanic and all over the world are captured, caught, and all this nonsense can stop. Indeed. All right, and going this way, so there is a Subnautica 2 coming out, by the way. All right. Like you said, I wish Geralt the dolphin story was true. I swear that is the best story I've heard this year. Oh, that story was really hilarious. I liked it a lot. It was so I'll explain to you all what that is if y'all haven't heard of it. Dolphin. Let's go this way. All right, so Geralt the dolphin, which is the story that Moki sent me, is the central figure of a viral strategical story that gained massive traction on social media on early March 2026. And the claim is that a Florida man was kidnapped by a pod of dolphins for 3 days and forced to help them build an underwater city. According to the fabricated reports, that the man was sunburned and disoriented on the beach in Lee County, sketching blueprints in the sand. Now, you see, with this person, he was found completely sane, by the way. And I thought that was very wild. Right. And the narrative is that Geralt is described as the project foreman or leader of the dolphin pod. The man alleged that Geralt and his crew communicated through a series of complex clicks that he eventually learned to interpret. When questioned about how he survived underwater for 3 days, the man's supposed response became a viral catchphrase. Gerald had handled that. I didn't ask questions. You don't question Gerald. Yeah, so he would take him down to this underwater place and to build a lab. That is so wild that he would do that underwater. Indeed. All right, the story originated from the satirical social media page called the Dude Humor Report, but this was quickly reshared as they were legitimate news events. The post even included a realistic looking mugshot of the sunburned man and the fake news banner, leading many users to on platforms like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram to believe that the incident actually occurred. But yeah, definitely you never know, but I really would hope that it is a true story indeed. And going over this way is to address the growing confusion. The Lee County Sheriff's Office issued humorous debunking on March 6, 2026. It confirmed that no such kidnapping had taken place and playfully noted that there were no deep sea developments or underwater condo projects currently under construction in their jurisdictions. Despite being the hoax, the story restriction. Despite being a hoax, the story sparked a wave of memes and comedic reactions online. Many users joked that O'Garard's superiority complex are shared their own imagination contracts with Dolphin Foreman, while the tale of the underwater city remains pure fiction. Yeah, and yeah, Nick Shirley is very good. I like him a lot. He has been exposing a lot of nonsense. And let's do this right here. All right, so here we go. The Nick Shirley, 23-year-old independent YouTuber and citizen journalist, gained national attention in late 2025 for the viral investigation into the daycare and Medicaid fraud in Minnesota. His 42-minute video, which has garnered over 135 million views on X, showed him visiting several Somali run children's centers that appeared vacant despite receiving millions in state funding. Following his report, federal authorities, including the FBI Department of Homeland Security, increased their presence in the state, and the Trump administration subsequently froze over 185 million in child funding. Well, a shout out to him. I'm glad that he exposed that. Definitely. All right. Following his work in Minnesota, Shirley shifted his focus on California in early 2026, testifying before the House Judiciary Committee that fraud in the state is likely worse than Minnesota. He has specifically highlighted concerns regarding the ghost daycare centers. All right, Shirley and private investigator Amy Reichert has been probing allegations of taxpayer dollars funding empty childcare facilitates in California, similar to those documented in Minnesota. Homelessness spending. He cited a state audit finding that 24 billion allocated for the homelessness over several years was largely unaccounted for, with no clear outcomes or data on where the funds were spent. Infrastructure and services. Shirley has also questioned the billions spent on the California high-speed rail and 650 million 911 service that was ultimately scrapped without providing value. All right, while Shirley has been vocal about various types of fraud in California, the major parallel investigation into the hospice fraud has been prominently exposed by CBS News and conservative figures like Matt Walsh in 2026. This investigation revealed that Los Angeles County has more hospice agencies than 36 states combined, with nearly 2,000 providers, many of which are ghost offices located in strip malls, vacant lots, or even wrecking yard. Some clusters include as many as 287 providers within a 2-mile radius, often sharing the same staff and buildings to harvest the government subsidies. The federal response to, all right, I have to go do PT in my training. I'm used to app learning, copy editing, proofreading, so I can land remote second job. Okay, Lori, good night to you. Thank you for coming. It was very nice having you on board tonight. All right. Federal response to these findings has been swift. The CMS administrator, Dr. Mehmet Oz. Okay, Lori. All right. Thank you very much for the feedback. Mehmet Oz, estimating that the hospice fraud in Los Angeles County represents roughly 3.5 billion. Oz has announced plans to cut off the ability to bill Medicare for approximately half the hospices in California that appear illegitimate. And additionally, a new state task force has been created to address the unexplained rise in hospice enrollment among the individuals who are not actually dying, which authorities attribute to the fraudulent actors using cold calling tactics to enroll unsuspecting patients. All right. Nick Shirley's investigation style, characterized by direct street interviews and showing face on face at physical locations, has made him polarizing but influential figure in 2026 anti-fraud movement, while his Minnesota allegations face some pushback from the state officials. Local media for being sensationalized in his work has been lauded by federal leaders like Vice President J.D. Vance, who called his reporting much useful journalism than that of Pulitzer Prize winners Shirley continues to use platforms with over 1.1 million subscribers to document what he describes as a widespread fraud across the United States. All right. All right, so that is everything about Nick Shirley. Facts. Okay. And now what we will do is okay, that was about Nick Shirley, and watch more of this trial right here that we were watching yesterday that we got cut off from. Wrong place. It's this. All right, we're gonna watch the Parkland shooter opening from the defense now. As we close out the show, eventually we'll end it at some point. But yeah, we did the topics for earlier, and now we'll watch this part. Okay, here we go. Yes, and go put myself right here.
Grandparents, wonderful people in their late 60s, as their father commuted from Long Island to the city as a chef. This abandonment that Linda felt and this insecurity would follow her for the rest of her life. But very few people in Florida knew about that life. Because remember, she had created her own reality. She also sent out birth announcements. And you hear from one of Linda's oldest friends. Her name is Mary Hamill. Mary Hamill. Remember that name. Because she is so important in Nicholas's life from the very beginning until very shortly before this tragedy. So Mary goes to her P.O. box, she gets her mail out, she gets in her car, she's driving down, opening the mail as she's driving, and then she sees a birth announcement and she almost gets in a car accident. She immediately picks up her phone and she calls Linda and she says, "Why didn't you tell me you were pregnant?" And Linda says, "I
Oh, I don't know if Richard is even in the chat right now. I've not seen him there, so maybe he logged off, perhaps. But, yes, we will do that one tomorrow with him here. But if Richard, if you are here in the chat, let us know, and I'll play it right now. But so as I said, if and then. Because I want him to be here to see it. So tomorrow we'll do it if he doesn't say anything. Okay.
wanted it to be a surprise." And it wasn't until years later, when Mary's daughter was actually babysitting for Zachary and Nicholas, that she happened to come across some paperwork, adoption paperwork. That's how Mary found out that the boys were adopted. Mary, one of Linda's very best friends. Linda was really good at creating her own reality. So what happens to Brenda? She does what she only knows how to do. She goes back in the streets, doing the exact same thing, because she's not tired enough yet.
All right, there he is. Okay, I'll play the alien video thing that we talked about before. Okay, there he is. I'll do it right now. All right. Okay, glad that you were here. Okay. All right, and it's down this way. It's right here. We're getting there. Oh, there it is. Yes, Moki had his back. Yes, I believe this is it. I believe this is it, and if it's not, I'll have to find it somewhere. Okay. There we go.
But I want to get back to you because here you are. You're a kid at this point. I mean, right out of high school?
I'm 18 now.
18. Okay, so you're 18 years old, but they've chosen you. I assume Forrestal and the Nordics chose you. Did you already have contact with the Nordics before you went into this program?
Okay, let's go back to February 1942. Okay?
Okay.
They call it the Los Angeles sighting. What took place, actually, my mom was back east, and my dad, my brother, and I had rented a large apartment in Long Beach and California. And this was in a large home that had been broken into 4 apartments. So the second floor actually is 30-foot ceilings down below. So the second floor then is real high. Okay. And all the way across the back of this house, it's only 4 blocks from the ocean in Long Beach. All the way across the back is a great big balcony deck. So at about 5:30 in the evening one day in 42, my dad says to my brother and I, who were laying on the floor looking at the newspaper and the magazines, get up and come back here to the deck. So we get up, we go out to the deck, and here's this spot, a little spot, okay, just above the trees and just above the rooftops, okay, of the houses that prevent us to see the ocean from this area.
Okay.
So we're standing there looking at this, and all of a sudden, out of this spot of light came a little beam, and it went like that, sort of about that 60 degrees. And we watched that. Then this beam went straight like this, hit the back of the house, lit up all of the trees, lit up the back, the roofs of all the houses, everything was lit up. And we went back, hit the wall, and then go forward and grab the railing, okay? It was gone. It was gone, okay? So we went back, we had dinner, listened to a show on the radio, went to bed. At about 1:30 that night, all of the anti-aircraft guns started firing. We get up, we run outside, and we look at this great big thing. At arm's length, it was that big. It was parked at about 7,000 to 8,000 feet. I'd been a Navy pilot, flew almost everything that the Navy had. I knew what the altitude was. I knew what this thing was. There was 8 searchlights on the bottom of this vehicle. Bang, bang, bang. All these shells were bursting on the bottom of this vehicle on a continuous basis for an hour and 30 minutes. Just parked right there. Now, all around it, above it, different vehicles were coming. This lasted...
This is the Battle of LA you're describing.
This is the Battle of Los Angeles, okay?
But at that time, you were still a kid, right?
Yeah.
So you hadn't been a Navy pilot yet.
No.
But now, later on, you were able to remember what you saw and know that it was these...
I knew what the altitude was. I somehow knew this altitude. Okay?
Oh, really?
Yes. And later on, I did. I flew almost every plane that the Navy had.
So the craft that you said there was because there's a newspaper picture. I don't know if that's really the real thing.
The newspaper was not a good demonstration of what took place.
All right.
Now, what I'm trying to say in evaluating what happened in this sighting, you have to visualize dozens and dozens and dozens of different shaped vehicles. This great big one parked right above you, right over Long Beach, okay? Everybody is outside looking at this and watching it. There's vehicles going on both sides of it. There's vehicles above it, and several times, actually, the vehicle went underneath, and the anti-aircraft gun lights, the searchlights, shined on them and followed them. So this goes on till about 2:30. We get bored. We all go back to bed. Okay? We get bored.
Well,
no, hold on. Just wait a minute. Hold on. Okay? We get bored.
Yeah.
Now, while this is happening, and it goes on until 5 o'clock in the morning, many of the other people outside, okay, outside watching this from the street, stayed up all night long.
Yeah.
Okay, but...
Better than a movie.
Okay, no, wait a minute. Listen. Now, on the other side of your planet, at this same time, the Germans were bombing London.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my gosh. Holy cats. This is February 1942.
Right.
Okay? Now, we got bored and went to sleep. Now, I want to make a very important point about the Los Angeles event, the sighting.
Okay.
Nobody got scared. Nobody got nervous. Nobody ran in the house and jumped with the covers over their head, okay? Everybody watched this thing. Nobody got sick. Nobody got real sick, died. There weren't anything of that. The only people that were killed in this were from our own shrapnel. Now, people watched this same sighting, we found out later, from Santa Barbara. People watched it from San Diego.
Sure.
This is a massive group of vehicles. Now, listen to this analysis. You got to tell me. There's only two ways this could have accomplished what was going on. One, the extraterrestrials vehicle come in over the ocean, okay? Hundreds of them. They go all over Los Angeles. They go to they go to the telescope on Mount Wilson. They make a turn. They either go north or they go south. They fly out to sea, they turn around out over the ocean, and they come back to make you think there's a whole lot more vehicles there than actually there is. They either had to do that, or we watched thousands of vehicles come in over western United States from 1:30 to almost 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. And they shot at them and weren't able to hit them or destroy them in any
The
way?
shells burst on the bottom of them. They're not bursting on the bottom. There's an electromagnetic shield, but the shell hits and it blows up, but it doesn't do any damage. Now, yes, we did shoot down 2 small ones, which were not occupied. One of those went in the ocean only a half a mile off the Rainbow Pier in Long Beach. Your Navy picked that up. So your Navy had an extraterrestrial vehicle in February of 1942.
Okay, so that's before the operatives came back with the information. Because you said in 1942 they had...
Okay. This took place just before I was contacted, pulled out of high school, thrown over to Naval Air Station, North Island. Okay? Mm-hmm. What this says is that a whole lot of people who were involved in this sighting immediately knew there were extraterrestrials. Now, I want to take this a little further. People who watched this sighting, and this is not, there's documents that prove it, but they haven't been released. Two Navy admirals, two Army Air Corps generals, and an individual whose name is Donald Douglas Sr. Those 5 people were in meetings that evening. They were still in meetings. They watched this whole thing. They watched everything. And bang, extraterrestrials. No cover-up. They're real, okay? So those fellows got together. Okay. Just a second. Douglas then put this group together, the 2 admirals, the 2 Army generals, Air Force generals. Okay. And they put together a group of people and initiated a secret think tank inside of Douglas, actually within 1 week of the sighting.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
And so, you know, we talk here that this is February 42, 1951, I went to work for that secret think tank inside of Douglas. I had been working for Northrop for 2.5 years. I worked for North American for a short time. I worked for Lockheed for a short time. And then somebody telepathically told me I need to leave Lockheed and I need to go to work over in Santa Monica at Douglas. I didn't read a document that said do that.
Okay.
So I went over and applied for a job as a draftsman. Okay, I'm sorry, not a draftsman, as a model builder of metal wind tunnel models, okay? Because remember, I had built a group of models over quite a number of years.
Yes, but I still, I mean, I want to make sure that we have this, the LA sighting, the LA Battle of LA, because that was so amazing. And this is even prior to Roswell.
Yes.
Okay, and in essence, are you able to say who those other people are? Because you said Douglas is one of them. But the other admirals and generals that were in that meeting, that small meeting, watching all of this, who then put the secret think tank together, who they were? Is one Curtis LeMay? I mean...
Yes.
Okay. Bobby Ray Inman, was he alive then? I don't even know.
He was just a kid then.
So he wasn't.
But Bobby Ray Inman later on became the #1 admiral.
Still is.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, he, 26 years, he ran with the ball.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So, okay, but did you know, the Battle of LA is going on, but at the same time, did any of the ETs in that craft, I mean, and do you know which ETs were doing this? Was it the Nordics? Did any of them, you know, teleport down to meet anybody? Was there any reported encounters during
let's go
24
back.
hours?
Let's go back to Douglas Sr., 2 Navy admirals and 2 Army Air Corps generals in a meeting. Okay, they had been in meetings all day long. They were still in meetings.
Right.
Because it's only 7:30. I mean, come on. So they watched this event, and they immediately structured and organized this group of people, pulling in all of the top scientists they could pull them in, put them inside a secret area inside of an aircraft company. Douglas Sr. did this, so you got to give him credit for this. Now later on we had a lot of problem with his son in there because he didn't know what was going on. But Sr. was brilliant. He put this organization together, which ended up being later on studying extraterrestrial and is still studying it.
So are you saying that was the beginning of MJ-12?
Yeah.
In a word, yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Okay. Was Forrestal one of the admirals?
In there because he didn't know what was going on. But Sr. was brilliant. He put this organization together, which ended up being a major organization later on studying extraterrestrial and is still studying it.
So are you saying that was the beginning of MJ-12?
Yeah.
In a word, yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Okay. Was Forrestal one of the admirals?
No.
In that meeting?
No.
Was Rickenbacker?
No.
So, are you able to tell me the other players in that room? What we know the beginning of MJ-12, actually. We know some of these players. Vannevar Bush?
No. I just assumed sort of sidestep that.
Carmen?
Yeah.
I could go on.
Yeah. Okay, I just assumed.
All right, fine.
Kept
no
that
problem.
one aside.
Okay, so we've got that. But you didn't answer my question. Was anyone having contact? Any high-level people contacted even before the event happened, in fact?
Okay. My understanding on this was that nobody came down, nobody talked to the people that were in these vehicles, but probably thousands of people telepathically got information, okay?
Okay.
So the bells were rung in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
And you were one of them?
I just happened to be one of them, I think. I can't prove it, but somehow...
Well, I mean, this is a good time to ask you. I mean, are there other guys like you? Because you seem to be one of a kind.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of other people.
There's a lot of guys like you in this secret space program who were somehow contacted and have had special guidance and knowledge on how to build and what did.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Prove it. But somehow...
Well, I mean, this is a good time to ask you. I mean, are there other guys like you? Because you seem to be one of a kind.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of other people.
There's a lot of guys like you in this secret space program who were somehow contacted and have had special guidance and knowledge on how to build and what to do. Yeah?
Yes.
Others.
Yes.
And have you met them?
Really, I've only met three other individuals of what are probably hundreds. Okay.
Really?
And
they're all quiet to this day.
Yes. Now, I think one of the thrusts that you probably have, and that many people now are hoping that the disclosure information will get these people to come out and talk about their involvement.
Sure.
Okay?
Right.
That's what collectively we're all trying to do. Because there's many areas that I don't know about and that I was not involved in, which are extremely important. And those people working in this subject know this. And they're not just aerospace engineers. These are top physicists in universities, okay?
Okay.
And they're top designers in aerospace companies. And they've had the information put in their head too. And But for whatever reason, almost everybody has been, that knows the information, has been in some way put in the position that either their family has been threatened, they have been threatened, and they don't want to talk. And
okay, well then let's, before we go on, why are you able to come forward?
Okay,
Who gave you the green light?
Okay, I can't answer that. All I can say is that the easiest way for me to say what I'm saying is my association with 3 Nordic people in Douglas on the Apollo program, okay? I worked with these guys, 2 young ladies and 2 really good-looking Nordic guy.
All right.
And so working with the 3 of them for 3.5 years on the Apollo program, who all 3 denied that they were Nordics. But everybody that was anybody in engineering knew they were, okay? I never said they were. They never said they were. But if you can just try to visualize, I had 170 top engineers on the Apollo program working for me, okay? I was engineering section chief at Douglas. I had, I guess, worked my way up. I come up with approaches and concepts, and I get these implemented by all my designers.
Yes.
Where did some of my ideas come from? I have this very nice looking young lady who never stops kidding. It's fun to go to work. Mm-hmm. She never stops kidding. She's always sticking it in and turning it. And not just that, but she's always stuffing things in my head. Mm-hmm. So, like when I presented this complete redesign of the Apollo program to Dr. Von Braun and Dr. Debus at Redstone Arsenal, one of the most classified facilities on the planet. Yeah. I had a 6-foot by 6-foot model in a great big box put on the DC-7 to fly down to the Redstone Arsenal, okay? Yes. I rented a truck. There weren't inside or closed trucks available. The only one that they had just board sides on it. So here is this great big gray box that could be a nuclear bomb. I drive this thing, and I've never driven the gears on this in my life. I'm in a 3-piece business suit. I'm driving this truck with this bomb box
and you
in the
just
back.
Drive it onto the base or something,
and
right?
Wait just a second. Now, my secretary had told me before I left, I've typed you an authorization as an allowance to go on board the base, okay? You're never going to use it, okay? I said, you're gonna get on base and you're not going to have anybody bother you, okay? So yes, I'm driving this truck a long straight road to get to the gates of the base. And she said, I told you before, Billy, telepathically, I'm driving the truck, just keep going. So the gates open, okay?
So great.
Now, off on the right hand, wait a minute.
Great movie.
Yeah,
okay.
Off on the right-hand side is this massive parking area for all of these trucks, all of the people to get on base, go through the security checks. It's one of the most classified bases on the planet.
Sure.
and the doors open, the gate opens, and none of the 4 police guards at the office, they didn't pick up their rifles and come out and start shooting. Nobody did. The rifles just stayed by the front door where they stood.
But is this Nordic mind control?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
So
what are you telling me? You're here because of Nordic mind control today? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, is that what's happening? I mean, are these, you know, top admirals who've been in this game now since 42 at least, are they letting you come here because they've been persuaded to do so, or because they've been mind controlled by Nordics to let you come?
Okay. I have to say, really, I don't know. And I really don't know.
I love that.
Okay?
That's awesome.
Okay. Okay.
That's awesome. I would say that that's probably how you got, actually, I didn't just mean here disclosing, but actually here talking to me, because I'm usually the most dangerous woman out there. I mean, to tell you the truth, that's my reputation. So somebody letting you talk to me, I mean, I know the Nordics are cool with me, so now I know why you're here, because...
You just answered it.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, while we're still not believing the gates to open, I drive this truck through a massive base that's covered with trees. You can't see the sky, okay? You can't see where this tall building is that Von Braun's tower is. Right. I finally get to this. I drive right up. There's 3 levels of steps going up if you come as a guest. But you can go into the back and drive in the back and get in there. So tell me why, you tell me why 4 security guards come down the steps carrying a big rectangular dolly with 4 wheels. Okay? Yeah. I haven't said anything to them. They come over to the truck, right. I'm out of the truck. They take the boards off the side, lay them down on the concrete. They pick up this model and they put it on this dolly. Why was that dolly available?
Sure.
I'm asking.
Nordic mind control again.
Okay. So they carry this big box with the model in it, the Command Center for Launch of Apollo, which nobody in NASA knows even exists. Because remember, that's my concept of what you've watched on TV every time you watched an Apollo mission. That great big facility.
Well, we got a lot of questions about that.
But just a second. Our contract on the S-4B stage of the Apollo, the command stage section, okay?
Right.
Requires us to utilize a open hangar with doors on both ends of it to check out our facility, our stage, and then assemble it on top of a outside assembly area, okay? This is insane because we've got the most advanced circuits that have ever been designed for the entire computerized operation of Apollo. Because remember, Germany was all mechanical. They did not use computers.
Even back in those days.
Back in those days. Now, this facility then has this massive outside structure where you assemble your stages on this, and it's 270 foot high, okay, out in the open, and then somebody lights the engine and we get the engines to operate and it lifts off. The checkout of everything is outside. The checkout of the facilities and every part of the whole program is out in an environment with the doors open in a hangar.
Okay, are you trying to tell me that because it was somehow camouflaged and and so people wouldn't look or couldn't see it, or?
No, I'm saying that our contract required us to do all of the assembly and checkout of our stage, which is the controlling stage of Apollo, in an open hangar in the worst atmosphere that we can do it on the planet, because the humidity at this location
So why
is
was it like that? I mean, was yours. Are you saying you made a redesign from that, or
I
is that
said,
a design?
I said to Dr. Debus and Dr. Von Braun in my briefing that I don't want to check, I don't want that hangar that you want me to check my stage in. I want, well, first of all, you guys with the V2s in Germany, roughly 68% of the time when you check it out and then you lift it, there's problems with your own V2s.
Yeah.
So I'm going to check out my vehicle, first of all, in an inside closed area in the vertical position. And I'm going to keep it in a vertical position till I pick it up and put it on top of the lower stages.
Okay, but I want to know why, if the Nordics had this amazing technology and they were helping you and feeding you ideas for Apollo, why was Apollo so rudimentary? Is there a completely other Apollo that we never saw? Because we know that things happened on the moon once they got there, and you said, you know, and I want to talk about all that. But you know what I'm saying? In other words, you're still talking about this module that has, you know, is basically a rocket. You know, it's like a tin can. No. That's old technology. Why did they let the humans continue with that kind of a design?
They could do what you would say would be a partial assistance to a country, and maybe we say they used the United States, okay? Now, the Germans had been playing with rockets, liquid rockets, for way before World War II, and even World War I, okay? So they have their command center, the launch center, underneath the ground with concrete above it in a silo, an underground launch silo with a periscope up on top. They can look through. I said, we're not going to do that. I not only want my vehicle checked out in a vertical position and assembled that way, but I'm not going to use your underground launch facility for my cabinets full of support, checkout, and launch equipment. I want a facility which will be a closed facility to assemble all of the stage and check them out. Okay? So my proposal to Debus and Dr. Von Braun was build a vertical assembly building, people. Okay? Oh yes, it will be the biggest facility space-wise of any building on the planet. Who cares? This is what we need. I got from checking out the German V2s in Germany in a horizontal to a vertical, and then encased in a white room. And actually, my proposal was a white room atmosphere.
Right.
Air-conditioned atmosphere. Because we were playing with advanced circuits and rocketry and communication systems that nobody had ever done. So the chance for something to go wrong was astronomical. And what I presented to Debus and Von Braun was not just buildings, completely changed the whole checkout and launch at the Cape for production launches to the moon, okay? So if you'll remember in that book, Selected by extraterrestrials, there's a drawing in there that shows Cape Kennedy, Complex 39, and then a whole bunch of complexes all the way down this side for Launch Complex 39s, and then circles down here for these massive truck facilities to haul up all the equipment to build a 10,000-man naval base on the moon underground.
Okay, yes, but did this get built the way you wanted it to?
It finally did, yes.
Really?
The facility got built exactly the way the four major changes to the Apollo program came out of 170 guys in a engineering area called Launch Complex 39, which we designed at Douglas, okay?
Okay, but you're still not, you didn't answer my question about the technology. So you're basically saying, because this is interesting, you're saying that the Nordics have some limitations in the way they help, in the way they interfere with planet Earth. Is that what you're kind of getting at?
Okay, you're getting complicated, your questions, but we have to step way back. Again, not really understood by the public, okay? Yes, there are Federation facilities out in the galaxy where other extraterrestrials get together, and there's many different missions for many different types of programs. But we'll talk about one of them, which cruises the galaxy, and it has as many as 30 different extraterrestrial civilization people on board. It looks like the moon, okay? But it's a planet. I mean, it's not a planet, it's a vehicle.
Right.
Okay. So this cruises the galaxy.
Is it a Dyson sphere or not?
The what?
Is it called a Dyson sphere?
That's one term, but actually, we're getting more complicated. I need to answer your question. When we got to the moon, we found out a lot of surprises, okay? The Draco reptilians were already there. And we knew because we had probes when we went, non-manned probes that we sent around the moon. So we knew there were facilities on the backside. We knew a whole lot that people didn't talk about. But we were in a position where this moon is not a moon, okay? It's not your moon in the first place. Actually, this is not your planet. This is their laboratory, okay?
Right. Okay.
Didn't talk about. But we were in a position where this moon is not a moon, okay? It's not your moon in the first place. Actually, this is not your planet. This is their laboratory, okay?
Right. Okay, the Dracos, you mean, or the reptilians?
Draco reptilian / reptilian.
And I'm going to ask you what they all look like and all that, you know, at some point.
Okay.
Because I know. Okay, let's get to when it was it Neil Armstrong landed on the moon, and he said that thing that you heard him say, and Michael wants to get real specific about this. So basically, there were 7 huge craft there, and you said on one of the shows out there, you said that the reptilians actually showed up beneath their craft and they gave the finger.
Okay, they were parked around the side of the crater. Yeah. Okay, they were not parked on it; they were floating above it. Okay, yeah. So there were hundreds of these 9-foot reptilian guys standing with their legs.
Hundreds.
Yeah, they were all the way across underneath their vehicles,
Okay,
standing
so
on the
9
crater.
feet, and what do they look like?
They're ugly looking lizard, alligator type people. They got the same skin as the lizards got, okay? And terrible looking faces. But then they have the ability to shift and look like a human. All of them do, okay?
Okay, do you think von Braun was a reptilian?
No,
You really don't?
no.
Okay.
Your president, yes.
Oh, which one? George Bush Sr.? Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Bill Clinton and this guy you got just got
Obama?
rid of. Yeah.
Yeah.
They all were,
Right.
okay? So, and they all have this ability to make themselves look like real good-looking people.
And you're saying Trump isn't one?
No, he's not, okay?
Well, that's a relief.
And and he knows more about this subject than people realize.
Oh, excellent.
But trying to get back to your earlier question, these groups of extraterrestrial who work together but are at war with other extraterrestrials, okay, have these vehicles that look like a planet.
Right.
Like our moon is a vehicle. It's a command center for this arm. Easiest way to look at this is to put your arm out like this. And you be the center of the galaxy, all the way out to here. There's 4 arms on our galaxy. One of those arms has a place here which is called planet Earth. You're not downtown where all the action is in the galaxy. You're out here. You're in the area which galaxies, as they rotate, throw off. Okay? So you're sitting here on the tip, near the tip of the Milky Way galaxy, you, Earth. Okay? And what you need to do is visualize you are not Earth people. Okay? You are extraterrestrials, nice guys out there. So you know that this little planet is going to get thrown off, maybe take a couple of weeks yet, but eventually it's going to get thrown off. So
that's why this is happening.
This is why this is happening.
Okay.
And 2,000 years from now, we'll probably be picked up with another galaxy. We're just floating out there. And this goes back to the problem that we had before about the number of years that you can live. We'll talk about that later. But back to these command centers which operate throughout the galaxy to monitor bad guys and attempt to get them to back off.
So isn't Phobos one of them?
Yes. Okay. And so essentially we have nice guys in there and even some bad people in the same vehicle. And they discuss wars and disagreements and this sort of thing. But back in their own planetary part of the galaxy, they may be at war with 2 of the same guys that are in this together. So this is like a center of information, sort of like a group of people who are trying to get along for certain specifications or certain events. Those guys control your planet, your moon, because your moon is a command center for this region of the galaxy, not just the solar system. That's small potatoes, okay? The thing that's sitting right in here, which is you call your moon, okay, is a massive control center for this whole part of the Milky Way galaxy.
Okay, wow.
Wow. Wow is right.
What about Saturn? I thought Saturn was more like that.
Saturn has large facilities on it too, but those are other agendas for other people, okay? Some of which we have, okay? Because we have mining companies. Let's take North American Aviation. Los Angeles Airport. That's where North American Aviation is, okay? And you've seen on my block diagrams that are in my book what systems engineering really is, what controls the secret think tanks, okay? Instead of a book or a document to do this, I came up with block diagrams. We have to have one of those. We're going to need one of these, and we're going to need this for just the start of the program. As we get into this, we're going to change the phases of it into 4 different phases: concept phase, definition phase, acquisition phase, and operational phase. So now that's a 10-foot long piece of paper that's a foot high, and it has every single block diagrams that are required to initiate that space program, okay? Every single one is in there. So those documents then are used in different manners to develop ICBMs. So I came up with a concept for really space concept. The military then used those for development of ICBMs and other weapon systems. And the initiation of that is to understand our position on our association with extraterrestrials. That's what the block diagram is for. All these events that have to take place to interface with extraterrestrials.
What do you mean? Okay, that's very complex, what you just said.
It is very complicated.
So you're talking about yourself having a diagram, having been the person who creates a diagram that the entire, sort of maybe all the militaries are going to follow, that's going to diagram out our relationships with these, with the rest of the ET
we've
races?
used what turned out later to be a standard requirement, this block diagram thing, for every weapon system that any of the military has, whether it's Air Force, Navy, Marines, doesn't make any difference. Your company designing whatever, go back to the Pentagon and you propose a weapon system. You're going to have to be, if you get that proposal, you're going to have to be controlled by this 375 document, which I came up with for the Apollo program, and I submitted that to von Braun, and that was one of the 4 programs of changing the entire NASA program. Okay, so the first use of this was for ICBMs. I took that system and defined the entire Apollo program and the missions, because they had several missions. My group in the secret think tank came up with 44 separate missions extended till to the year 2000, 1999. So the Apollo program was supposed to not just go to the moon, pick up the rocks, take the photographs, and come back.
Yeah,
the Apollo program was to take us out into our solar system, build naval stations on every habitable planet or its moon, okay?
Right.
And then the next phase was to go to the 12 closest stars, Alpha Centauri being the first, put naval stations, bases on all of its planets, except we stopped that one because it had 2 suns and the radiation factor was not, we couldn't do it. But 11 other stars, the 11 closest stars to you, okay?
And you're saying it's been done?
And I'm saying that's what we plan on doing.
Okay, you planned starting with Apollo, and you
That
plan
is
up
the
to
Apollo mission.
1999. It
No,
was
that
supposed
is the Apollo
to- Oh,
mission.
that's just Apollo. Okay. Did it happen?
No.
It got stopped, right?
Yeah.
And it got stopped by the reptilians.
Yeah, they said, no.
Okay, now this diagram that you're saying, this block diagram that is the militaries are all following, it basically is, in a sense, your design initially. It came through you, but it must have been downloaded to you somehow from the Nordics, saying what Earth people were going to be allowed to do. Is that what it's saying?
Okay.
What kind of weapons they could or couldn't build?
It was not for weapons. It was for us, and actually that's in my book.
Right.
It was for us to go out into the galaxy. Everything that's necessary to build a transport or a vehicle. Go out in the galaxy, have communications with other extraterrestrials out there, and set up businesses with them.
Right.
Maybe we could mine stuff for them. Maybe we had certain materials they don't have. We could market these.
Okay.
They may have things that we want to buy. Set up communications with other civilization people out in the galaxy. That's what the first block diagram was for, and that's what the mission was to have originally been, what we recommended. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, yes, Nordics put that stuff in Billy Tompkins' mind, and he runs with this ball. Okay? But you've got it in the book. I mean, that's what our thrust was. It was not military. Then the military picks up this document, and they run with that of every military program anybody wants.
Okay, but when you say the military picked it up, I mean, here you are kind of almost embedded in the military. You're dealing with von Braun and Diebus. Now, they're Germans.
Yeah.
Okay? So there is some kind of interaction going on between still Germany, the U.S., and then Project Paperclip.
Yeah,
bringing over all the Nazi scientists.
Yes.
And at some point, we're being infiltrated. It's clear in your book that you, and especially your close friend that you worked with a lot, you used to talk in the dialogue of the book. You're always saying,
Okay, so Richard says, can we pick up later? My boss came in. I don't want to miss what comes next. Okay, so we will not be playing. Okay, we will pick up this another time. Okay, so we will end the stream. All right. How about that? And all right, we'll pick up on this to probably tomorrow. Thank you all for coming and hanging out with us tonight. Shout out to everybody that was here and hanging out with us. And very good stream, and peace.